Hello children, today we are going to read this chapter, that is chapter 2, subject and predicate. Further, so in the previous video I already explained you what subject and predicate is, and along with that I had also taught you what the subject, form and function in case of statements and in case of imperative sentences. So I had told you over there that if it's an example of a statement, then what we get to see is that usually what happens usually I had told you that the subject is in the front. That is, let's say Ram is my friend, so automatically the subject is in the beginning. So Ram is the subject and is my friend, that the predicate is following the subject. But sometimes we also get to see that the predicate is in the beginning and the subject will be following, like we saw in your book, like in great financial crisis, in great financial crisis, in great financial crisis was she. So this example can be taken over here. So what did I say over here? I told you that in great financial crisis was till here, it's the predicate and she is the subject. So over here we get to see that the subject is following the predicate. So these can also be the form in which we can find subject and predicate in a statement, that's in a declarative sentence. So this was the pattern that we saw previously. And then in imperative sentences, I told you that like, let's take one example of here of an imperative sentence. So in an imperative sentence, I told you, like, if I say come here, so when I say come here, if you look at the words over here, you don't find the subject, but you need to understand the subject is implied and the subject is you. So this thing I had told you, you will not be written, you will not be spoken, it will not be said you come here. We are not going to say you come here, or we are not going to write you come here, but come here will be written and come here will be spoken out. But the thing is that you need to understand that the subject is you, because I am talking to the person who is listening to me. Like right now I am talking to the listeners, whoever are listening to me. Okay, now today let's deal with this exclamatory sentence. So today we are going to see the subject, form and function in an exclamatory sentence. So you all know an exclamatory sentence is a sentence where we express strong feelings and emotions, and it ends with an exclamation mark. So in the case of statement and in the case of imperative sentence, we already know that we end the sentence with the help of full stop. But in the case of exclamatory sentence, it was not so. So let me take an example of an exclamatory sentence. Let me use the example provided in the book itself. How kind you are. So how kind you are is an example of what? Is an example of an exclamatory sentence. You can see I am ending it with an exclamation mark. So over here you need to know that in an exclamatory sentence, the subject comes in the middle. So if you see over here, you can see the subject mentioned is you. So this is the subject and it is followed by the verb. So over here, if you look at your book, then it's written the subject does not come first in exclamatory sentence. So this is something you need to keep in mind. Like in statement, we saw that the subject was in the beginning, but in some cases we got to see that the subject was at the end in the statement. In imperative sentence, we saw that the subject was hidden, it was not written, it was hidden, it was implied. And in exclamatory sentence, it is being said that the subject is not going to come in the beginning of the sentence itself. So it is in the middle. So it's written over here. It comes somewhere in the middle. It ends with an exclamatory mark. So it comes in the middle. It ends with an exclamatory mark. That's exclamation mark. Then it's written over here. Look at these examples. How kind you are. So over here, you is the subject. I have written. You can see over here, this is the subject you. Similarly, the sentence, what a brilliant stroke. What a brilliant stroke. So over here, what are we talking about in this sentence? What is the sentence talking about? The sentence is talking about the stroke. So stroke is the subject. So over here, what I am trying to say, it does not come in the beginning. That subject does not come in the beginning of the sentence. Of which kind of sentence am I talking about? I am talking about exclamatory sentence. So in an exclamatory sentence, the subject does not come in the beginning. That's it. It's not placed in the beginning. So over here, I hope you can see some more examples provided in your book. What the foolish mistake he made. So who made that mistake? He. So automatically he is the subject. What a fancy dress she wore. So who wore a fancy dress? Then she. So here we are getting the answer. So how kind you are. So who is very kind? So automatically you. What a foolish mistake he made. Who made a foolish mistake? He. So we are getting the answer. So the answers that we got is the subject. So over here we are talking about you in this sentence, and in this sentence, in this exclamatory sentence, we are talking about stroke. So what is the book saying? The book is telling us that in a statement, the subject might be in the beginning, but in some cases it might be at the end. In an imperative sentence, the subject will be hidden. It will not be written over there. You need to understand it. It is implied. So you will not be written over there, but you need to understand. Like if I tell you to help me, then automatically if I say help me, you will understand that those words are being referred to you. So I am talking to you. So you have to come and help me. So you will not be spoken out, you will not be written down, but you need to understand that you is the what? You is the subject over here. So in great financial crisis was she. So in this sentence, you get to see this example of statement, and over here we can see that the subject is coming at the end. In the exclamatory sentence, we have already read that it does not, the subject does not come in the front, it comes in the middle, and over here I told you the subject is over here, and in this case the subject is over here. Now let's deal with the interrogative sentences. You already know what's the work of an interrogative sentence. So I have already told you interrogative sentence asks us a question. So interrogative, let me write over here. So in an interrogative sentence, let me take an example. Have you completed the project? So this is an example which I am taking from your book itself. So in an interrogative sentence, you can see here is the verb have, and over here also is the verb completed. So in between these two verbs, there is the subject over here. And the sentence is ending with what? A question mark. So in an interrogative sentence, you are not going to find the subject right in the beginning of the sentence. So the subject in an interrogative sentence comes after the verb that starts the sentence. So over here, this is the verb with which we are starting the sentence. So this is the verb with which we are starting the sentence. So after this verb, we have the subject you. So this is what the book is saying, then you need to keep this in mind. These sentences end with question marks. So over here you can see this sentence over here. This example which I have taken is ending with a question mark. Next it is said, look at this example. So have you completed the project? So have is a verb, and after that we are having that the subject, that is we have placed the subject, that is you. In the next example you can see, are you going to Delhi? So automatically you can see over here the same format. You can see are, that is the verb, it's followed by the subject you. In the third example you can see, can you pass the salt? So see can is followed by you. In the fourth example you can see, are they solving a maths problem? So you can see are, which is a verb, is followed by they. Similarly in the fifth example you can see, is Rekha an actress? So is, which is a verb, is followed by Rekha, that's the subject of the sentence. So here I hope you are understanding what I am trying to say. What I am trying to say is that in an interrogative sentence, the beginning letter is going to be what? It's going to be a verb. And after the verb, we are going to have the subject. So you can see over here. And then we are going to end that interrogative sentence with the help of a question mark. So this is what the book is trying to explain to you. So this much is there in your second chapter. So let me help you revise once again. So in this chapter, what I tried to explain to you is that a sentence has two parts. How many parts a sentence has? A sentence has two parts, namely the subject and the predicate. The subject is the name, it might be the name of person, place, animal, thing. It might be a pronoun. So it might be a noun, it might be a pronoun. So this word, okay, about this person, this place, it might be the name of a thing. So about whatever we are talking is going to be the subject of the sentence, and whatever we are going to say about that subject is going to be the predicate. So in this example you can see, this is an example of a statement, and in this example you can see, who are we talking about? We are talking about Ram. And what are we saying about Ram? We are saying is my friend. So after reading this sentence, what is clear? We are talking about Ram and we are saying that Ram is my friend. Similarly, in this sentence, we are saying that in great financial crisis was she. So over here, we were talking about she, that is some girl, and we were saying that she was in great financial crisis, means she was running short of money. So over here in the exclamatory sentence, what did I say? I told you that in exclamatory sentence, we have the subject in the middle. We can see over here. And we saw that it ends with an exclamation mark. In an imperative sentence, I said that the subject is hidden, it's not mentioned over there, it will not be written over there, but you need to understand that the subject is you. In the case of an interrogative sentence, I told you that there will be a verb and the subject will be following the verb, and it will be ending with a question mark. So this is all what we read in this chapter. So we are going to stop here for today, children. In the next class, that is day after tomorrow, I'll send you the answers of this chapter 1. I'll solve these answers and send it to you. Kindly copy it in your book. Some of you might have copied it because you were there during when the hostel was having the classes. Some of you were there, so some of you might have done it, and some those students who have done it, I might have corrected those books itself. Even if it's you were not there, I'll be sending the answers for you day after tomorrow. Kindly copy it down, and while copying it down, be careful, do not make mistakes, and there is no need for you to send me those answers. That is, you don't need to click pictures and so on, send those pictures to me. You just need to write it carefully and try not to make any mistakes. Thank you.